I just wanted to start off with a land acknowledgement. So we'd like to acknowledge that the land that we inhabit today was once known as Tavangar. It was home of the Gabrielino Tongva people, the original stewards and caretakers of this land before we came to live here. They were first colonized by Spain in the 1700s and then by Mexico in the 1800s, and then by the United States when we declared war on Mexico in 1864. We'd like to acknowledge that we're all here today as a result of this land being taken from the Tongva people by force. If you'd like to learn more about the native land or to see other native land designations around the country, you can visit this site, which I will put into the chat. Ta-da.
Thanks, Christy.
All right. So we can just go around, and board members, we can introduce ourselves. And since it's a small group, I think everybody can introduce themselves. So pretty sure we all know each other. But anyway, I'm Christy. Well, I've been on the board for the last year. And since your terms go in 2-year terms, I'm going to be staying on through this election. So I will be on the board after this election. Lauren?
Hey, I'm Lauren Hill. I am on the board and leaving. My 2-year term is up. And yeah, I guess for those of you who aren't on the board, if you want to just tell us why you joined the call today too. And then I'll pass it to Raimi.
Raimi, on the board, leaving. I think I'm wrapping up my 4th year on the board. But our plan of attack for terms and stuff has changed a bit, so. Joe?
I'm Joanna. I'm finishing up 2 years on the board. I was the treasurer, and I will not be rerunning. I want other people to get in there and do some good for the community. Great.
Did you say my name? Sorry. Jessica Kramer. I am on the board, and I, like Christy, have only been on the board for a year. I am probably not going to stay. I'm probably stepping down, like 80%. I'm getting a nasty look from Nick. Yeah, so Dawn.
Don. I am here to just listen. That's why I'm here.
Does that leave me?
Oh, yes, Sparta.
Or Mary. Mary, you go.
I'm here to beg Frisbees from you. My principal said I could give every student in my school a Frisbee, and I have about 180, and I need like 400 more, and Grant said he would help me, but I thought if I told all of you, you would maybe help rally people you know. So yeah, that's why I'm here. And also,
I thought maybe you were gonna self-nominate and run. Maybe I'll nominate you for a board seat and then you can run.
What's that?
Maybe you want to run for a board seat also.
I'll keep listening and then you can convince me.
Okay, I'm good at that. Sparta?
Hi, I'm Sparta. I have no interest in running. I'm just here. I love you guys, but I don't want to stay in LA long term. And yeah, I love you. Yeah. Okay. Chris, your turn. Your name and why you're here. Well, you're on the board, so your board position and then why you're here.
My name is Chris. Sorry I'm late. I'm currently chairperson, and I'm here because I'm on the board. No, that's not the only reason I'm here, because as you can see, the entire board is not here. It is optional for board members, for some of them. Yeah, I'm just here to listen, maybe contribute. I have been on the board for over 3 years, so I am ready to let new people do everything for our community.
Are you late because you had to feed your 40 cats?
Yeah, these cats are really taking up a lot of my time now.
A lot of space too.
Yeah.
I think that would be uncomfortable for you.
Yeah, I'm very allergic. I don't let any of them touch me. I'm in like a bubble. They're all just like pressed against the glass.
Joanna, your background's pretty funny. I
Yeah.
admire that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Can I see
It's
your
not-
best Jim impression?
Yeah, it's not quite right though. Is that Stanley?
Mhm.
It's
He's in the
backwards.
background of a ton of the shots.
Yeah.
It's Stanley, yeah.
Usually,
Okay, Mary, I
usually
don't-
the person's blocking him.
Sequitur, but
Ah.
my brother, whose name is Michael, that if he ever has a son named Michael Scott Carlson, that I will pay for all paper products that the child uses throughout their entire life.
Oh.
He looked at me like he was considering taking me up on that, so I see the outcome. But Michael Scott Carlson and your witnesses, I promise.
I mean, I think you can make a strong argument that cloth items are paper and you could end up paying for all the diapers. That's a great plan, honestly.
And with that, I've agreed. You know.
Mary, I don't know if you're in the LAOUT Ultimate Group Me, but Scott Berger posted a post about Frisbees. I posted a link in the chat if you want to take a look at that.
All right, so we wanted to have this just as like an open discussion to be able to answer any questions about what it's like to be on the board, if you're interested in running, that kind of thing. Also, like what you want to see coming out of the board, what the new board should look like, what you want hope for them to do, what you want to see them do, that kind of thing. So it's going to be a little like we have some talking points, but it's kind of just we can self-lead if anybody has anything specific they want to talk about. Yeah, let's see.
Welcome, X.
Yeah. You gonna say hi?
He's just gonna look at us with that steely gaze.
Hi, it's me, Xavier. Shut up. That's not me.
I don't think so.
It's like, wow, the quarantine's really affected his voice.
Yeah. One too many kicks to the crotch.
I kicked them. Don't worry.
We already went through it and introduced everybody. I don't know if you want to say anything about why you decided to come to the meeting or who else is with you, because there's clearly, you have an alter ego.
Is that Castro?
It's
It has
Castro.
to be Castro.
Yeah.
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
Cool.
All right.
I have a question,
Yeah.
unless you want someone's. Okay, so I was curious, in all of your positions, especially for the people who are leaving or potentially thinking about leaving, what do you think is like your goal or what's your vision for your role in the next couple of years? Like, what are projects that you think were really cool that you started, or like that you would like to see someone continue or do, or things that you think your position could transform in the next couple of years? Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I think it's worth acknowledging that the way that we set up the board can change, right? So I don't know that there'll be an equal person in each, like that there'll be necessarily a person in each seat that currently exists, or that the board will even be set up in the same way. I mean, there's a fair amount of flexibility as far as that goes, and in fact, to acknowledge the sort of systemic issues with nonprofit boards to begin with, it's a pretty flawed system. So I think we're open to hearing about alternative ways to run the show, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, but my role, there's a lot of like financial stuff and organizational, like administrative stuff for the board that I think really needs to be looked at. And our ultimate goal in general, we've talked about a bunch, is to get enough money to pay like at least a part-time employee, if not full-time, to do the administrative tasks that are like issuing refunds and things like that right now kind of falls on all of us to split up. Some of that falls on the treasurer that others like just can't do because like we only have so many people who have access to the bank account and things like that to be safe. So I think that's a really important thing to be thought about with the next board, is just like what it really might look like to hire an employee who can take some of the day-to-day tasks that a lot of us take on, and it's currently just, it's not too much work, but it's like it could be a little bit less work, and someone deserves to get paid to be doing that work because that's a regular job. So that's something to be looking forward to, and obviously everything that means going into that as far as costs of leagues, donations, just building in general. But it's another thing that like anybody could do that's not tied to my position, but that I did was I started doing a lot of Google Sheet tracking for us to have information on not only our financials, so we can answer questions a little bit better than like about this much money. It's also just like knowing how many people have, how much LAOUT has grown in general, like numbers of people, if we're meeting our goals of one of our main goals is that our community of LAOUT more accurately reflects the community of LA in general that we sit within. So like having the percentages of people of different races and whatnot together and socioeconomic. So we started asking some of those questions with the intention of actually tracking it. So we know we can concretely say that we are working towards that goal and getting there rather than just like paying lip service to it. So I think that's another important thing that won't only matter if we keep tracking it. So I would hope that the future people would enhance my tracking, because I just kind of made up with what I know, and I'm sure more people will know better ways of tracking things on that. We also are hiring an outside accounting firm to help us track the financials and stuff better in a way that's not all on individuals who are not financial people.
Yeah, I think whoever takes over, like, one of the things that's been effective is when multiple people are working together on something rather than having somebody in charge. Like a lot of the committees have had multiple board members kind of leading that charge, and the committees themselves have been helpful. And continuing those maybe more when we are back to having, things happening. I haven't been to any of the post pandemic meetings, so I'm not sure what has been discussed, but our board meetings definitely have, even though we have had a lot to talk about with the election, like obviously there's a lot of like daily stuff that just, we don't really need to, there's nothing to do right now. So I don't know, I just think people who are joining should be ready to collaborate, because I think that that's more effective with the way our board is set up.
I'll add, I was the secretary, so, having somebody to just like organize, take notes on meetings and stuff is ideal, but it doesn't necessarily have to be called the secretary or have that be one person. But one thing, like the reason I originally joined the board was with starting some work around gender equity that has kind of morphed into broader equity work. And it really was fueled and has been fueled by all the people in the community who have been involved. So we had an equity committee that met pretty regularly. We had some events. And then we also, like Dawn helped me facilitate a session with the ultimate teams, both the men's and women's teams at USC. So like, I think there's a lot of room to be creative in how the leadership gets involved in the community. And it doesn't always have to look like sitting at a Zoom meeting or, whatever kind of traditional board meeting. And, to Chris's point, I think like the more people within our community that we can engage in the work, the more successful it's going to be, because that is going to mean that we're going to have input, we're going to get different perspectives, and that's just more people to help accomplish things as well. So, that's sort of like a broad overview, but like being able to both do the operating business, like Joanna talked about, which ideally would be a paid position, and then leading the community in sort of more of a, like an aspirational way. Ideally, the board can kind of do both of that. So.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that so I'm the president currently. I think the president and VP seats have historically been fairly ill-defined. We've tried to define again and again and again, but there's not there tends not to be like concrete responsibilities for those two seats. And so I like to think that what I've been involved in is supporting the other board members as they run their sort of subcommittees. And so I've tried to go to like as many of those meetings as possible. And I think that's fine. Like, I think when Andy was president, he had a lot more concrete responsibilities. So something I might encourage for the next iteration is just to figure out a couple of specific things that the president and VP can be responsible for, so they have some specific projects of their own. There's been stuff, obviously, but I don't know. It's just it's like a less obvious seat than a treasurer or a secretary.
Yeah, kind of same for the chairperson, whose main job is to help kind of keep the board meeting themselves run on track and run on time, which can be a challenge. But outside of that, there's not really anything specific. So what, Lauren? No, we never go over. No, of course not. So I mean, I try to view my role as aiding with that, and then going to, all of these and just being a presence in the community. So like, as a board member, not just the chairperson, but as the board member, I feel like it's our responsibility to be like as in touch with the community as we can be in whatever ways that means. It doesn't necessarily mean go to everything, but when you can go to something, you probably should, and be willing to be that person who speaks rather than listens, so that, people have someone who's so people, because a lot of people want to get help, get started with helping, but they are maybe like worried about talking or all that stuff. And it's just like, sometimes you just gotta talk and let people hear your thoughts. And maybe you have a bad idea. That's okay. Like, people will tell you, and at least you've started to put yourself out there. I think that's what being a board member is just putting yourself out there and being willing to be criticized. And trust me, we certainly get criticized. But it's not, I mean, for anyone who's considering the positions, it's, it's not bad. It's overall, a lot of players give good feedback. And when we do surveys and things, we get a lot of great feedback. So overall, very friendly community.
Yeah, don't scare them off before they reply.
Well, it's a reality, right? Anytime you're in a leadership position, you're going to take criticism. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think one of the things that I want to see the board improve on is just communication with the community and being able to have like either more standard updates of what the board is doing, because I think a lot of people, it's just kind of a black hole and nobody knows. Getting some smiles, so it sounds like maybe that's true. So one of the other things like we were going to talk about today was just like what the board really does. So a lot of it, oh geez, Creeper Chris over there. I mean, obviously the first thing is running leagues and getting fields, and those are the biggest things that everybody thinks about. Part of that requires getting insurance, and then managing budgets with the treasurer, and our new accounting team. But there's also so much more that like I had no idea about, just like maintaining the website and the Facebook page and communicating with people that way and sending out emails and planning volunteer events, or, like all the subcommittees and connecting with local organizations. And there's definitely a lot of different areas and things to do. And it's a whole business basically that needs to be run. It's not just a couple people that send out an email saying like, this is when you play. It takes a lot of effort and energy into it to get it all done. And we have 10 people on the board right now, and it's all volunteer work, and it's hard to get motivated enough, like once you're done with your regular job, because you're not actually getting paid for this, but we like it enough that we want to keep it going for everybody else. But yeah, it's definitely some work, but I think if we get enough people interested in helping, and even if you can't run for a board position but are still interested in helping with one little thing, like that's still a huge benefit for the whole community.
People like doing things. So we need people who are willing to keep those things going.
And I think there's real change that can be capitalized on. You know, I mean, I'm pretty proud that this board made the decision to test and then go with 6s for Winter League. You know, we got some pushback to be sure, but I think that, you know, it was worth it. It was a decision, you know, a hard fought decision. And that's just one example of something that I think has really actually sort of changed the conversation. I think Lauren, who won't take enough credit for this, you know, really spearheaded these equity conversations in the community. And I feel, as I speak to people around the country, that LA has done a phenomenal job of not just starting those equity conversations, but continuing them. And I don't think, you know, to Christy's point about people getting involved and participating, I don't think Frisbee is going to look the same after COVID. I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, a lot of bioethical questions that, as far as I know, maybe only 1 or 2 people on this call are qualified to answer. You know, and I'm not one of them. You know, just this idea that, I mean, and I don't want to be too tangential, but like Frisbee as an amateur sport, we pay our own way. Often, if people are participating in tournaments that are non-local, they're flying. We don't even know, airlines could be monopolized within the next 24 months. We don't even know if flying is going to be a realistic thing for the sort of middle class. So I think, you know, we just have to be willing to have those conversations as it relates to everything, and certainly amateur sports. And the next board's going to be responsible for a lot of really tough questions, right? Are vaccines required to play pickup, right? How do I know that you actually have a vaccine? If you traveled this weekend and show up for a Tuesday night pickup, have you been tested? What, you know, like there's so many questions, and I think we just don't have the answers to those yet. So that'll be super interesting and really valuable and meaningful work. My dog just woke up. She's really cute.
Yeah, I think I would just add to that. Thank you, Remy. I think that point is incredibly important. And we already know that LAOUT 2021 is not going to happen. You know, with an event with several thousand people in one place, even if it's outside, it's not happening. And that is obviously consequential because it's a big decision. It's, you know, like Remy mentioned, that tournament is huge. It's what really puts LA Ultimate community on the map every year, with the number of people who come from all over the US, all over the world, I think, really. And just as significantly for us, it's our biggest revenue generator. So that's where we get a lot of money in order to then reinvest in the programs that we're running. And without that happening next year, it's going to be a dearth in the budget. And so that's something the new board is going to have to grapple with. And there are reserves in the bank, and, you know, figuring out how to use them. You know, we say that we have them for a rainy day, and it's pretty fucking rainy right now. So I think that it is appropriate to grapple with that. But these are going to be some of the like very real and very tough decisions. And so as not to end on like a totally gloom and doom note after that, we have so many incredible people in our community who have stepped up already, who are incredibly smart, who have great connections. And I think that, you know, there's really an opportunity to leverage our community in moving forward in really productive and creative ways, like, you know, things that we have never thought of before because we've never had to think of them. And I think this is like all of you know, and Sparta, probably you especially as a dentist, like most dentists can't practice right now, and it's a really fucking crazy time. So the sort of push that we've all had in our industries to be creative about how we operate is really going to be present here with LAOUT too.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody else has any other thoughts or questions about like the election. If you saw the webpage that we posted a couple weeks ago, there's a little bit of a Q&A section just about like and there's a timeline. So nominations are open right now. We'll be collecting all the nominations throughout September, I believe, into the middle of September. And then voting will start in the beginning of October. But one of the things that we were actually thinking of was having all of the nominees like write a bio or some sort of information about like why they should be on the board, just to introduce themselves to the community. And we were wondering if anybody had any specific thoughts or questions about like what they would want to ask a nominee, like what you would want them to speak up about, like if there's any specific topic that like all of the nominees would address, so that we can see like everybody's viewpoints on one thing. I don't know if there's any thoughts like that, if anybody has any ideas. It's kind of a vague one.
I don't know much about any of you personally. It doesn't really matter as long as you're doing the work. Like coming from the perspective of I'm just a general participant in the organization, as long as you get the work done and you guys survive your term of office, then I'm good.
That's good to know.
You haven't lost anybody. Right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, good.
Not that wasn't voluntary, at least.
Yeah, no scandals.
An interesting problem that I think the next board will have to grapple with is, in addition to everything that I just said and Lauren said, you know, field space has been increasingly challenging to come by, and the cost of fields have been just exponentially increasing for a number of different reasons. But I mean, certainly the drought a few years ago really influenced sites building turf, and turf is way more expensive, and it's also more coveted, and so there's other sports that compete for it. And I think that Frisbee is pretty low on the totem pole of organized sports when it comes to perspective from the city. So what I would love to hear from folks who plan to run is, you know, just like creative ideas for getting Frisbee a little bit more recognition, a little bit better known. I think, you know, something I heard in last week's town hall that was brought up was like, you know, questions about expanding into neighborhoods that we haven't previously played in. And I think there's a lot of, you know, really specific gentrification concerns with that. You know, like our experience at Rancho, I don't think that our community has necessarily represented ourselves or Frisbee as well as we can. And that's too bad. And it's a growth opportunity, you know, to be sure. So I look forward to just hearing like new ideas about how we can get involved in more communities without like taking over, just like stepping in and like basically spending money to use fields that, you know, have other uses, have other sort of intentions. And I think Frisbee can be a bridge. Like, I think we can develop that.
Let's see.
Do we have any other on there, Christy? Question? I forget what else we put.
Any other what?
Any other prompts we had that we hadn't gotten to? Because we only have like 14 minutes left.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've covered most of everything. Unless, yeah, like if anybody had any specifics of just like what they want to see from the board with the new iteration, I think that would just, I don't know if we've really talked about that as much. A little bit, I guess that was like Sparta's first question. But yeah, I think like to Rainey's point though about like field costs and everything, that'll be like the biggest challenge is telling people that we need to charge more and convincing them that that's a thing that we have to all get on board with, because we also want to try and hire a staff person so that it's not all volunteer people. We can have someone that's more dedicated and has like a fixed amount of time each week to work on things and help the organization run smoothly. So I think in order to be able to hire somebody, we would definitely have to put a budget together and figure out what those costs would look like, but it would likely involve increased costs for games.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, normally winter leagues are most expensive, well, one of our most expensive leagues, and we're probably not going to have to run that, so. There you go. Maybe everything will be good for Beach League, which is generally one of the easier ones to get fields for, and everything else.
Spring Beach? Fall next year?
Yeah, I was thinking fall Beach League, but maybe Spring Beach.
Beach forever. See, there's like wind at the beach.
Field space, really easy.
Is that a half and half Tea Express? What is that? Is it, what have you got in it? I haven't had one in like since March. I just want to know what's in it so I can just envy you.
This is the ice milk drink.
That's a good.
Yeah, it's got pudding and boba in it. And I highly recommend, because I go probably 3
I
times
have
a week,
my.
and I live 30 minutes away.
You live 30 minutes away from one?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
My loyalty cards died. I can't use my loyalty cards anymore. They won't accept them. I'm really.
That was a really sad day.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was a little. I'm sorry.
That's ironic.
I hope that the next iteration of the board is willing and able to really speak about some genuine organizational changes in the way that we view Frisbee. You know, I think like, yes, we want to hire a staff person. I mean, that's the legacy that I hope we leave behind us. Chris wants to see my dog freaking out on the couch. He's like doing this weird rolling thing where he like digs underneath the cushions until they fall off, and then I like put them back on. He does the same thing to my bed. He just throws the pillows on the floor. Okay, I know.
Oh my God, that's too.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that like the system that we've had historically, and this is both true for LAOUT and also Frisbee as a whole, hush, might have to change, right? So like we think about all of these leagues that we've run, and we might not get to run all those leagues next year, COVID aside, right? The future of Frisbee, of this organization, could look different. So just being willing to you know, kind of burn it down and start over if that's what needs to happen.
Yeah. I definitely think the new board will need a willingness to kind of be open to anything. Right away, there won't be too much for them to have to work on, which is nice. They can kind of ease into it, have some discussions about important things, but there won't be too much action they can take right away. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there will be plenty of stuff, but.
Yeah, we do have, we've hired the equity consulting group both and to help onboard the new board members and set up like a good structure to move forward with for the next year or 2 or 5, or I don't know what the plan is, but something along those lines. So it's not just a complete, this is the new board and see you later, bye. So hopefully that will help guide everyone in a better direction.
Also, isn't that what you're there for, Christy?
Yeah.
Sticking
I
around.
You'll be the old pro.
yeah, I don't want to steer the ship alone.
Yeah, isn't the hall staying?
I don't know. Is she? Not
I
that
don't know.
I know of. Maybe.
Not sure.
I don't think you'll be alone, Christy, as a carryover.
I think Jackson is staying, right?
Yeah, Jackson's staying too, I think he said.
All right. Well, we've got 9 minutes left, but we can end early unless other people have any kind of questions or other thoughts to share, or they want to nominate someone right now. Or
Yeah, just as a reminder, all the information is up on the website, including the nomination form. So you can nominate yourself and someone else. Or Hoover, we are glad that you joined us. Do you want to add anything or say anything?
Sorry, I'm late. I totally forgot. And then I saw Sparta's message. So thank you, Sparta, for messaging on the group meet. I don't know what has been discussed, but I think I kind of just joined in to see who was here. And I think for me, I think one of the focus I would want board to focus on is, bringing Frisbee to a younger generation, to middle school, high school. And I can't imagine a better person than Don being part of that group. He's been always helping out and, doing clinics for kids while everybody else is, playing pickup or whatnot on the side. And he's always teaching kids how to play Frisbee and sharing the sport that we all love. So I just came here for supporting Don, honestly. But yeah,
Thanks,
that's about it for me.
Thank you. I second that. Don should definitely be on the board.
Third. And so now we make a decision, right? That's how it goes.
Yeah, Don's on. He doesn't
Yeah,
even
we
get
just
it.
vote here and it's over, right?
He doesn't even get a say.
Yeah, majority rules.
Fortunately, Don wants to run, and he's also been nominated by someone else, so he's running.
Yeah, it's true.
yeah, sorry, you can't change your mind now.
That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
Get some friends
That's
you
why I'm
want.
here.
Get some friends you want to be on the board with to also run.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hoover. Hey, Sparta.
What's up, Don?
How's it going?
Not much.
Oh, man. Are you busy for the rest of your life? I don't think so.
I have nothing to do.
Oh, well, there it is.
Maybe this is the wrong time to say.
Yeah. You just
It
signed
is.
yourself up.
Sounds like a nomination.
Yeah.
I'll just help. You just use me
Yeah,
as
what?
your, number one volunteer.
Hey, the NFL isn't happening this year, Hoover. You don't have
Yeah,
you don't
I
have
don't
much
think
work.
it's gonna happen.
So no Super Bowl for you this year.
So Don and Hoover are on the board. This is awesome. I didn't say that we were gonna reimagine what the board looked like, so now people just get on by speaking up in a Zoom meeting. I
That's
think.
right. Change the bylaws.
Mary, did you take a look at that link, by the way?
All those Frisbees have been claimed already. That was
Oh,
4
they were.
ago. And
Okay.
posted it. I don't know if it was your friend or just you found it, but they're very apologetic that they don't have any more Frisbees.
Okay.
How many do you need?
Um,
Because I have like hundreds of Frisbees.
Do you really? Because, well, I'm going to school. We weren't allowed to go to campus until tomorrow. And my work computer broke like 3 weeks ago. And they even said, no, you can't bring it. We're not fixing it, even though all of our training is on that computer. Anyway, that's stressful. But I get to count Frisbees tomorrow, and I think that'll be very like Zen therapeutic. And I told Grant I would give him my totals of like, because I have a lot of little Frisbees that are for like younger kids.
If you come now, you can have all of these. Okay.
Oh,
I have oh shit.
work. Like that I have that I've kept kind of cool or fine, but
They're we got these free. They're Sobe discs, and they glow in the dark, so I get to see them every time I go to sleep at night.
like the only thing I care about is the edges. I don't really give kids the ones that have like they're cheaper that have the edge that hurts.
These are whammos, but they're the glow in the dark plastic isn't bad. It's actually pretty good.
Okay.
It feels very much like an Ultra Star. but yeah, it's not like a normal Whammo, I promise.
Are you anywhere
I
near?
know, but they're free. I'm in K-Town.
Okay.
They feel good. Like in comparison to regular Whammo, they're actually really good.
Okay.
The plastic's softer than a regular Whammo because of the glow in the dark.
Don, stop settling.
I need these. I won't. And the other thing
Yeah.
is, my principal is really big about reaching out to our graduates. And I have students who are in middle school and high school who were going to like volunteer to help coach Frisbee a little bit in the spring of last year. And they have a Frisbee, but it would be cool to be able to say, okay, all the kids who graduated from 5th grade, guess what? Big surprise, you're 6th graders now, but you have a Frisbee, yay! And just have an event like that at some point. Because they're stuck at home and they really, the students that I work with definitely don't have time or money to go out and find their own Frisbee. So anyway.
But these were free, and that's why I have them. This is less than a fourth of what they gave us.
Nice.
So I've been trying to get rid of them for the longest time.
All right.
So yeah, if you're just send me a message and you can get those.
Yes, I will do that. Yay.
All right. I don't know if anybody has anything else or if we should just wrap up now. I feel like we've covered all of our topics.
Yeah.
We're good?
Yeah, I appreciate y'all showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
thanks
nice
for
to see
showing
your
interest.
faces.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll have some notes to share, and this recording will be available too, minus the first half of us talking about whatever we were talking about.
Yeah, last weekend we had a town hall on return to play and what we can do in the meantime. If you weren't there, we're repeating that one next weekend, I believe, but we haven't picked time exactly yet. So we'll be announcing that soon, and then we would also be repeating this topic, I believe, in 2 weeks. So hopefully we'll get some more outreach up and get more people to show up. All right.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good weekend.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks for
Yeah.
running, Christy.